Hi Suhas, how are you?
Fine.
Yeah, just we will wait for another 5 minutes. We'll have a little interaction about you, your background, so that until we wait. Okay. Can you introduce yourself and let me know, are you working currently or are you fresher?
Currently, I'm working for Mrs. Toyota based in Nagpur. I have done my MBA. I am working as
Okay.
an analyst for them.
Okay. So you, how many years of experience you have?
Right now, I have 5+ years of experience.
Okay. Did you join my yesterday's class? We also conducted
Yes,
yesterday.
ma'am.
Oh, okay, cool. So, sorry.
I got some disturbance. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, I'm not able to hear your voice properly.
We can continue in chat section if you want.
Yeah, sure. You can send me in the chat. That's fine for me. Hi, Ganesh. How are you?
Hello, hi, good evening.
Good evening. How's it going? How are you?
Yeah, cool.
Okay. We are waiting for other students to join
Sure,
until
sure.
Yeah. You can introduce yourself. Let me know how many years of experience you have, or you're a fresher.
No, I'm having a more than 10 plus years of experience in
Okay.
IT industry
Okay.
as a knowledge, working on the support as well
Okay.
as application support as well as IT infrastructure support.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Handling with the Windows and the Linux and
Okay.
the database knowledge on my MS SQL, Microsoft
Okay.
SQL Server,
Mm-hmm. All
and
right.
the
That.
basic knowledge on inner networking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So did you join my yesterday's class?
No, I haven't, didn't.
Okay. This is your first class, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. No problem. So I'll start with again, I'll recap the previous session, and then we will discuss further today.
Sure,
So
sure.
I'll start with AWS first, and then after 1 hour, we'll start with Azure. And
Okay.
what is your motive to learn cloud technologies? Any goals that you have?
Uh, means currently I'm working as a customer support engineer from here, and
Okay.
I want to upgrade my skill to the
Mm.
cloud technology for the
Okay.
Azure as well as AWS.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Sure, then we will see around how many technologies that we are covering and what all the features that we have
Okay.
in the AWS and Azure.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Mm, Hello, everyone. My name is Bhagyashree. I'll be your cloud trainer. So I am covering AWS and Azure concepts. So yesterday also we conducted a session for 1 hour for AWS and then one other 1 hour for Azure. So we have covered most of the basic things, how the certification looks like, if you are targeting for the certification, what are the syllabus, and based on the certification syllabus, we will be covering the further um, different aspects of the Azure and AWS as well. So if you are new to the class, let me introduce myself again. So I am working as a network security engineer. So I have around 7 to 8 years of experience. Uh, I started my career in India, and then now I'm working in Ireland. So I manage uh, working as a consultant, and I manage the cloud infrastructure and as well as on-premises infra for the customer. I also provide them solutions, managing their cloud architecture, and also helping them to design and develop zero trust networks towards the journey of that they have. So it's overall about completely managing their entire architecture and the infrastructure wise. So yes, this is about myself, and let's start with today's class. Hope everyone are doing good. And let me share my screen. Can anyone confirm if they can see my screen? Okay, thank you. So, mm, so what is AWS Cloud? What you understand by the term AWS Cloud? Any idea? Yeah, Suha says it's Amazon Web Services. Yes, what they are solving as a industry, as a business, what problem they are solving in current trend. Yes, cloud platforms. So, as a business, what problems they are solving is, so let's say that you have a data center, right? So everyone knows the data centers where they host their networks, web servers, different kind of servers and other things also, right? So instead of hosting that in your data centers, suppose let's say you have your office in different locations like India, US, Europe, all over the world. So if you want to build your network in each of the location, that would have been more cost impacting, right? So for that reason, these web services, these cloud services are providing a solutions to the customers where they can be just concentrating on what they want to do at the back end. All these features like providing uh, providing a robust technologies, and also suppose let's say if you want to host a web server one, so you can just concentrating on hosting a server at the backend part, whatever the load balancing routing part, or IAM, which is identity access management, which is kind of authentication and authorization. So those all things are managed on the AWS platforms. So what you need to do is what you need to concentrate on mostly on just hosting your web server, maintaining your architecture, managing your clients, and as well as um, providing a solutions to your customers, your clients, right? So for that reason, the AWS cloud has its platform to provide all different technologies. Okay. And so this is a little overview of how you can target your certification and what we are covering now. So AWS Foundational Program is the one. It is actually free on the AWS cloud. So you can go through the Cloud Practitioner Foundational Program. It's about, and within a week you can complete the foundational program. So that is very good if you have already completed or if you're planning to take that course. But in my course, I'll be covering few important aspects of foundational program as well. Considering few of you are considering if you are very new to this platform and if you want to understand the basics of cloud platforms, and also if you are experienced, it is kind of a revision for you. So those kind of concepts I'm covering in the foundational. And next comes to the professional one. So professional is again under this we are covering the solution architect, right? So in the solution architect, so you will learn about what is EC2 instance, how we are building, what are the backend like VPCs, and what are security groups, what is networking, and as well as what are the sizes, storages that we have for the AWS. So this is about the professional program, and in our course, I am mostly concentrating on associate solution architecture level. So why? Because nowadays in most of the industries, people are expecting um, a hands-on experience and also um, a good knowledge on the cloud, right? So for that reason, the solution architect syllabus will give you almost everything that you can prepare and appear for the interviews. So for that reason, I'm concentrating mostly on the solution architect. Once we finish the solution architect, you can go for the AWS security specialty. So why after this security? Because once you learn these EC2 instance, how to host a EC2 instance, how to host a web server, and if not only web server, any SQL, or if you are trying to bootstrap your web servers or anything like that, how to provide a security for that. Security is very important in these days. So for that reason, after learning this foundational, all these fundamentals, we will go for security to make sure that your cloud infrastructure is secure and it can be, it is not vulnerable towards the outside network, right? So for that reason, we will cover these aspects in our course. And next, who is a solution architect? Why the company needs a solution architect? Why it is in demand in these days, right? So as you know, most of the companies or in major companies, so they don't want to rely on only on data centers, right? They want their network to be hybrid. They want their network to be in high availability. If there is any problem on the on premises, they can still depend on the cloud platform where they can access all the devices. That's the one reason. And another reason is it is cost effective, right? So in the data centers, you need to bring your own hardware device, you need to configure it, and you need to make sure that all your resources are in proper um, proper way so that your devices may not get overwhelmed by the CPU and memory usage. But on the cloud platform, all these things are taken care by the provider, the cloud provider. So that's the reason it's more effective, and you can manage multiple cloud platforms at the same time as well. So if you don't want to depend on only AWS, you can have a mix of AWS, Azure, and GCP as well in your environment. So that's the reason. And also, in these days, what I'm observing a trend, as I told yesterday as well. So people are looking for not only cloud, not only IT infra. They want people who have knowledge on both, right? So they want people who have knowledge on web servers, knowledge on networking, IT infra, and as well as cloud. So that's the global trend. So, and in going forward, these whatever the job roles that you see, it is going to be changed as a IT infrastructure engineer, or maybe infrastructure developer, so on. So they don't want to just call as a cloud engineer, solution architect, or something like that. So it is important to have a knowledge on cloud and as well as IT infrastructure. So both the ways. So so cloud engineer skills, what is good to have, and if you learn solution architect, how you can build your skill sets around that is, if you are good at programming, it is good chance you can make automations on the web servers. You can learn, you can implement many automation tools on the cloud platform. That is kind of easy. And containerization and pods, as you know, those are that is also very easy. Like if you want to host a multiple web servers or a single web server, you can just run a single script. Based on that, your containers will be up and running within few minutes, and you can start leveraging those servers. And networking, as you know, if you have two different locations or multiple locations in your cloud network, so you can actually connect between those availability zones. I'll talk about later what is availability zone and what is AWS regions in further. So you can connect between those two locations. How you can connect, how securely you can build your VPN network around that. So, and also what is VPC, virtual private connect, and how, what are the subnets, how we are dividing them. So that comes very handy. And also you will build your knowledge around the networking if you start learning the cloud. So there are multiple skill sets that you can keep on adding if once you start learning the cloud. So this is just a brief overview about that. So certification overview, if anyone of you are targeting certification, it is good to have a certification these days. Always these MNCs like Amazon, Facebook. So these people will count the certification, to be honest. But that is valid when you have good years of experience. Suppose, let's say you have 3 to 4 years of experience, you can definitely target for a certification. Otherwise, if you're a fresher, I would not recommend now to go for the paid certification. Just go for any fundamentals which is free, and then once you gain a experience, then go for the certification. Okay, so this is about the certification. And then in if you are targeting the certification, this is a syllabus domain. They, in design security, they will have 30% of the marks, and design resilient it is 26%, and high performing it is 24%, and cost optimized is 20%. This is about the syllabus. That's okay if you're not targeting for the certification, but it's good to have a knowledge around that. And also little bit about the cloud history. So when the AWS started, it started on 2002. They have launched it internally. And then in 2003, they have started Amazon infrastructure, right? So to provide solutions to the customers. And then in 2004, it's publicly launched in the US. And in 2006, they have relaunched and made it publicly with some of the companies. And in 2007, they started this first started with US and then they came to Europe as well. And from then they have started expanding to Asia region as well. So nowadays, if you see all these applications which are running like Netflix, Airbnb, NASA, Dropbox, all of them are using cloud platforms. Why? Because it is easy to maintain, load balancing is easy. Suppose let's say the Netflix, right? If you are accessing any Netflix content, many of the people are, if they are keep on hitting on that particular server, it may get overwhelmed and the resources memory usage may go high. So for that reason, they have a load balancing in the backend. And as well as, suppose let's say you are in India and you want to have a Netflix, that then it will reach to the nearest Netflix center or region. So suppose let's say this is a overview of the regions, as I explained yesterday. So there are different types of regions they have. What is regions, right? Any idea what is region? I think Ganesh just joined today. If you want to answer that question. Okay, no problem. So region is nothing but uh, a locations, right? Regions are nothing but um, where they have data centers built in their model. So suppose let's say in Canada they have a region, AWS region where they have their availability zone. So suppose let's say you have one AWS region which is maybe US, right? In this US region, you have availability zones. So which is like EU West 1, EU West 2, US West 1, US West 2. So this is on the US. Under EU, so we have multiple regions on the EU as well. So Ireland is one of the region, and you have one in London and one in Europe, Stockholm. So there are multiple regions that they have. Why? Because to build a connectivity around them. So if you have a region around them, so it is very helpful to build a connectivity. Suppose let's say you are in Canada and you want to build a web server. So in which region you will build? You will build under Canada region, which is nearest to you, right? So that the latency will delay the band and also the consum. If anyone in the US is trying to access this web server, you can access it locally, right? So suppose let's say you are in India and you want to build another web server, you will build in India, because most of depending on who is your target customers or who is your target employees. If all of your employees are in India, then you can build availability. So you can build that web server on the in India region only. Okay, but your employers and everyone are in US. What you will do? You will build a web server in US. If you and how to connect between these, between AWS availability zones. Suppose your availability zone one in US, another one is in EU. So those availability zones, you can connect between these availability zones with a routing concept. There is a networking concept, whole different thing that we can learn and try to connect between these two regions. So that's about availability zone. Okay, let me share my screen again. Yeah. And then what all the different tech, what are the different technologies that you can learn in this course? So these are the a few samples, like AWS EC2 instance. Yesterday we did just one test that we ran AWS EC2 instance, and why EC2 instance is required. what is the use case of EC2 instance? Anyone can answer? Okay. All right, no problem. So EC2 instance, suppose if you want to build a Windows device or maybe Linux device or maybe a firewall. So for that reason, we in EC2 instance is just a machine. Within that, you can add any image that you want, right? Any OS that you want. So that is a EC2 instance. Nowadays, people are working from home or office or maybe different locations like digital nomads that we call these days. So what they will do, they will just host a machine on the any of the EC2, any of the cloud platform, and they will give that access to the users. They don't even provide a particular physical laptop or something, right? So you can also build all the security around this EC2 instance. Okay, and we will learn multiple AWS Lambda, auto scaling, IAM, and different other platforms as well. So, what is IAM? IAM is Identity Access Management, right? So, if you want to onboard a user to the AWS platform, you need to give a permission to that user. You need to give you need to group them users. Suppose let's say one of the user is joining as a developer, so you need to give a particular developer access to that user. So with help of IAM we can group the user, give the permissions. Why permissions is required? To based on the hierarchy of the user, right? So if he is a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, based on that tiers we can provide access to the users with different web applications, right? So for that reason, the IAM is useful. And also in the secure network design, we have VPC, Virtual Private Connect, and ACLs, which is ACL are nothing but access control list. If you want, you can define whether you want to allow certain ports, allow certain user, allow certain IPs, so that we can manage on the ACL and security groups. So for the particular VPC, we can assign the security group. So what is security group? We can write a rule on the AWS, allow a particular um, a particular host or a machine or maybe web servers. So that security groups that we can have. So, and also this is a little example of the elastic load balancer, how elastic load balancer works. So if you have two EC2 instances running on both of the suppose let's say one EC2 instance, and on that one EC2 instance your major application is running, right? So everyone who is accessing that application may get that resources, and utilization may go high. For that reason, once the CPU and memory reaches to 80%, automatically you can leverage that to build another duplicate EC2 instance, and then the load will be divided between these two devices. Okay, instead of just building two EC2 instance and add a elastic load balancer, you can actually run a script where you can define when once the memory utilization and CPU utilization reaches to 80%, it will automatically build another web server as per your requirement. So these are the different types, and then so there are like design and performance architecture that we are going to study in our class, and there are multiple optimized architecture. So based on the cost, today in my class I want to talk about the cost actually. So why we need to understand the cost optimization uh, for any of the features that you're using or services that you're using, right? So I'll talk that about in a minute. So yesterday what we did is we just hosted a EC2 instance, okay, in our server. So this is a EC2 instance that I just hosted yesterday and it was in running state. Let me get back to the running state instance, and here you have an option to start. So this will take some time to start the EC2 instance. So this is the instant ID, instant type, and you can actually we add alarms that I was saying, right? If the CPU utilization goes high, you can set an alarm for that. And availability zone. So I have hosted this one in North EU North 1A. Okay. And suppose let's say if I change my availability zone here, this is where I added, this is my availability zone. So if I change my availability zone to Mumbai, I won't be able to see that EC2 instance because availability zones are location specific, right? So here I don't have anything, but if I go back to EU North 1, so I will have my instance that is hosted here. Okay. So now let's talk about the cost. So as you know, you can use the AWS platform free for 12 months. So you can create an account and then you have to fill some of the details about yourself, phone number, and verify that account. And then for I think you need to provide the credit card information as well. So it they will charge you around $1, and then it I mean it will be not charged, but it will be in the pending transaction, and later after 2 days, the pending transaction will get verified. So it is almost it is a zero price, so you can create your account and then start practicing and start building your own thing. So once here, this is my IAM user. To see the billing information, so what you need to go is go to the account section, and in the account section, so you would see what is the billing contact. So you see these are the available regions that are disabled, and these are enabled by default. Okay. And to so this is for the service public sector. To view some of the options here, what you can do, you can come here and activate this. And once you able to activate this, you will able to see multiple options over here. So I mean, for us, it is actually so you can see it is 0 USD charge, right? Because I'm using almost all free tiers. So don't worry about the billing. So we will use all the resources, all the services which are available for the free. And for our experiments, for our practical sessions, so we will have almost all the services uh, which are uh, which are actually free, and which is useful for our experiments as well. So this is about the billing. And okay, so next we will talk about what is instant type and how they are. So we have divided them. Okay, organization. I'll go back to my EC2 instant. And this is global, right? So if I'm in global, I may not able to see my instance which I hosted. So I'll go back to okay, we are in account. Just give me a moment. Okay. So this is an instant type. What is an instant type? So here, if you see, I'll give you this link in the chat. You can also visit and have a look what kind of instance type that we are choosing and why. Okay, so instant types will come with its own virtual CPUs and memory. So as I was telling yesterday, if you are buying a laptop, so you will see what is the generation, right? If you see whether it's i5 or i4, i7 or i3, right? So based on this, you will have particular memory and CPU for whether it's 8 core, 16 core CPUs. So the same thing here, the instant type will decide what are the virtual CPUs and what is the memory that you are getting once you choose the EC2. So there are uh, different types of EC2 instance. Suppose let's say M7A, right? So in the M7A, these are actually the the first one will have one virtual CPU and four memory. And also based on the bandwidth requirement, you can choose your instant type. So why it is important to know instant type is because while you are hosting a device, as I said, it is important to understand which device you are buying, right? Whether you are buying i5 or i7. So based on that, the same thing, it is also important to understand what is the instant type that you are hosting. Many of the instant type that we are going to cover in our series is free instant type series. Almost it is available. So if you see, it is a T3 dot micro, right? So I am in the T3. So here is the T3 dot micro information. So this is an instant type that we are using. So this has two virtual CPUs and CPU credits per hour is 12. Memory is 1 GB and the bandwidth is up to 5. Sorry, network performance is up to 5 Gbps. Yeah, bandwidth. So this is about the instant type that is actually required, and it is important to know. And based on your requirements, you can change your instant type. So compute optimized are different, memory optimized are, they again have different series for that. Accelerated computing, they have different series for that. So based on what is your requirement, what kind of application that you're hosting, based on that you can choose the instant type. But in our series, in our class, so we will mostly use the instances which are free for the account that we are using. Okay, any questions? Once you learn the AWS cloud or maybe any cloud platform, so there are multiple career opportunities will open for you. So it can be cloud consultant, cloud security engineer, cloud DevOps engineer. If you have good background in scripting language like Python, Ansible, and these, if you have good knowledge on the scripting, then definitely you can go for the cloud DevOps engineer. So, and also not only this, once you start learning about cloud architecture, on the side by you will also learn the infrastructure, right? So how to connect the VPC network, what is the routing. So on that basis also you will start building your um, knowledge around uh, uh, networking as well. So based on that uh, you will have access to infrastructure engineer roles as well. So that's about the career opportunities. So let me know if you guys have any questions around AWS. So um, we will have a discussions what you think about AWS cloud services.
Bhageshwari, I think Suhas has, shared his question in the chat box. You can check that.
Okay, yeah, sure. This will be a free module or services, right? But under the enterprise, many services are required to get. Um, yeah, I mean, in our class scenario, the free tier definitely will have some drawbacks. That free tiers, we won't be able to get that on the enterprise level. So, what Suha's question, as I understand, so in the enterprise, we cannot use the free services, right? Yes, we can't use free services in our enterprise level or in any of the organization because of the security reasons or because of some of the drawbacks that many of the EC2 instances will shut down automatically. They run a script every week or every 2 days because in the backend, once you start running the instances in the backend, the resources will consume on the AWS data center, right? So it keep even though if you don't use those resources, so for that reason they will keep running some scripts to turn off all these test environments that we host. So if we using free tier for our enterprise or in any organizations, so that may affect our production, right? So for that reason, yeah, it is not recommended for the enterprise. Any other question, or if you not only questions, if you just want to discuss about how the AWS cloud is benefiting the business or the industries, we can discuss about that. What do you think about their solutions to the customers? So Rahul, Ganesh, anyone, any questions?
Hi, Bhagesri.
Yeah, hi Ganesh.
Yeah, have you completed? I mean, what about the Azure demo? Is it completed or not done?
No, Azure, I'll start at 9 o'clock.
Okay, that will be not possible to join for me because
Okay,
I'm currently working in a company and
okay,
I'm leaving in the next 5 minutes. That's why.
okay.
If you have a link, or share me that link or demo lecture link.
Yeah, I
Hmm?
think, yeah, Amar, if you have recorded yesterday's session, maybe you can share with
Okay,
Gan.
okay, okay. I got that from Amar.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I have.
Yeah,
Let me go through that and then I will ask you some question if you require. Hmm?
sure. Yeah, you can reach out to me for any technical questions.
Through the Amar, correct?
Yeah, through the Amar.
Okay, sure, sure. Thank you.
So yeah, Suhas is saying, I mean to say all services AWS provide like service for application like Jira, Jenkins, Kubernetes. Yeah, that's correct. Uh, so they will provide services. I mean, these Kubernetes is also one of the solution that they provide, right? So this that we can do that on the AWS with the help of AWS services. You can manage your pods, containers through that. Yeah. Any question, Rahul, Mohit?